Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. All right, folks, into the action today we go. A pretty wild day. We've done just over 100 million shares on the SPY, which is decent volume overall. And the key here is to recognize the volatility on the downside and then actually give credit to the market for being able to bounce back just a little bit. And again, what you can see here is the market came down to this little pivot high going back to the 4th, which was earlier this week. And again, you have Monday's action, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, Thursday. So Monday's little pivot high prior to that late day little sell-off, that's where the markets came down and found their gravity, all right? They found the support level there and have since moved up. Now, part of it is the light volume. Please note the volume just dying out. Early in the day, the selling pressure was immense on solid volume. Since then, it's really kind of depreciated there as it's died out. But again, markets opened flat to higher, big sell-off, and now you've actually come back. And I had a triangular pattern on this chart yesterday for members, and we discussed how this could be the signal that a sell-off initially was coming. And again, what I want to show you here is this trend line connecting through the recent lows. And again, imagine today's data was not in there yet, but you're looking at yesterday and the last 2 days. You connect this low to this low to this low here, and you get a lower level trend line. Then you connect the high pivots down right here, and you connect those through from the high pivot on Tuesday to the Wednesday's high right there. Now, the interesting factor in this chart is that you actually closed above that trend line at the end of the day yesterday. But one thing my members know, and again, I've trained them in the PPT strategies, which is our proprietary techniques, that just because a trend line is closed above, it does not mean it's a breakout or a breakdown. All right, that's very important to understand, folks, because basically what you have to understand is that there's something called confirmation, which basically once you get the confirmation, it solidifies a breakout or breakdown. A close just simply above doesn't do it. So yesterday I noted to my members that this could be a fake out. And sure enough, that was exactly what it was. The markets ultimately opening flat and then just cascading down, finally breaking this level, which you did confirm below. And then notice how on the retrace back up, this level right here becomes a great resistance point. In fact, this trend line right here, I did a little bit of a short scalp off of it and made some great money as it pulled back. But again, notice the triangle pattern, the retrace to that level, and now the markets are actually starting to sell off just a little bit in the afternoon session. That's somewhat expected based on the fact that you ran into resistance. The charts tell everything. I mean, if you look at these charts, you can tell the market's going up or down. Again, going into today, we knew it was going to be a wild day based on the triangle breakout or breakdown. Then ultimately the breakdown occurred, the bounce back off of support right to that exact level, and now the pullback off of it. Now again, we'll see what type of action we get here. Do we get consolidation above these two moving averages and then a move up into the end of the day? Or do we have the market to break these two trend lines and come down to the 20 MA? My guess is the market will close somewhere between this triangular area right here and the lows, most likely kind of right on the 20 MA. That's my general guess right now on where we will end up closing the day. Okay? So that's what we have going on there. If we go to the daily chart, I've been telling my members that there is major resistance in the market between 150 and 152 on the SPY, which is basically, if you translate it over to the S&P 500, 1500 to 1520, and that's been precise. Perfect, guys. Take a look at the high pivot here from 2011 connected to 2012, and then drag that line out and look at what you've been hammering on. This is how I arrived at this level amongst a few other calculations out there to get it precise. But notice again, beautiful little trend line right here, and you've just really stalled out there. You know, you're having some down days, some up days, but net, the markets again cannot break through, at least in the short term, the 152 level. And again, the resistance ranges from 150 to 152. A couple shorts that I picked up over the last few few days, doing beautifully today as the market comes in, including JP Morgan Chase down about 40 cents today. Let's take a look at some key stocks. First off, Apple. Apple, one of the few stocks to be up today, up about $2.75. It's well off its highs. Was up as much as $10 earlier today, and that was on the back of Einhorn coming out and saying Apple needs to do something with its cash. He's basically suing the company to force them to do some stuff with the cash. Initially, the market obviously liked that for Apple, as they have over $100 billion in cash on their balance sheet. But really quickly, we saw the market, kind of discount it, and Apple came back to the flat line. Now, in all fairness, Apple's performed pretty well today because it hasn't gone negative on the day as the markets have, but it's still not exactly a resounding great day on Apple when it's up $2.50 right now. And again, the chart does not even look that good on an intraday basis below these two moving averages. All right, looking at a couple other charts out there, we have BlackBerry, which is the former Research in Motion. That stock continues to do well, up 62 cents. Daily chart is such a wild chart. Had this monster move up, monster move down, and then monster move up again. So again, it's trading up near the upper ranges of the last few days. If it continues up, look for double top resistance here. Hard to imagine that it's going to have that much more momentum. I understand that the change in name, they're trying to reinvent themselves, but I don't overall think that it's going to be that successful, at least in the short run. Maybe in the long run they're able to do it. Short run, at least, it seems like the chart's a little on the pricey side for me. Okay? Goldman Sachs, which has been a monster to the upside. If you look at the daily chart, look at this run it's had in January. But again, it is stalling out today. May have put in a short-term top with a doji here. We'll be looking at the end of the day action to determine this. Now, again, I'm going to continue to give out swing trade alerts inside the research center. I encourage you to come take the 7-day free trial, scope it out. Again, I've given out quite a few trades over the last week, prepping for what I believe is the next market move. And again, we just continue to rock and roll profits each and every way. I've actually had some nice profits on the long side on trades, and now some of the shorts that we've just taken over the last few days starting to pay off beautifully. So, it's just all about being on the right side of the market. And if you analyze any chart you look at, it will tell you where to be long, where to be short, or where to be neutral. And if you know how to decipher it, and we do using the PPT strategies, you're good to go. 80 to 90% success rate, folks. 80 to 90%. That's right. 80 to 90% success rate. All right, let's go over a couple other stocks here in this intraday video for you guys. Google continuing to do pretty well today, basically hovering on the flat line. Had a great surge early and then came right in. Now it's kind of struggling to stay positive. But again, considering the market's down, that's a good showing on Google. All right, other stocks that are weak, Chevron and Exxon. Exxon's very, very weak today. It's off the lows of the day, but down $1.14. That's a big drop for Exxon. There was actually a pivot low here that I gave to members as a trade, and let's just take a look at it right here. See this little pivot low right here? It was $87.80. That was where we looked for it. And again, a pierce of that level would be a good level right there. And look at that. Pierces it and then bounces right back above. You just pierced it on one candle and then back up you went. Nice little bullish pattern right in there before it went a little bit higher. And again, just continues to trade on the weak side, though. And again, when you're looking at relative strength, you have to note that like Apple and Google, relative strength is good because they're up in a down market. ExxonMobil down $1.15, and that's definitely a weak showing for this stock. Even in the market being down today, it is down more percentage-wise than the overall market. All right, a couple other stocks out there. One stock out there I want to draw attention to, OXGN, basically up 25% today. This stock I gave to intraday stock chat members over the last few days. I picked up a couple thousand shares a few days, I think about a week ago, at $4.25. Just seemed too cheap on the chart with all the small biotechs going. Even in these videos, I've mentioned to you guys small biotech. Watch small biotech. So I just tucked away a couple thousand, nothing crazy, less than $10,000 in stock. And today, this thing goes to $5.90, folks. And again, profits galore there. Members in the intraday stock chat who picked up some shares with me, imagine just waking up to a 25-30% increase in your share value in your one position. It's always a gift. That's kind of like winning the lottery. But again, it was a calculated analysis and risk. And if you looked at the daily chart prior to it, making the big move today, and you can see there's our cells up here where I kind of unloaded and so forth, which is good stuff. But if you just zoom out on the chart, look at that. It's kind of, considering the small cap bio has been hot, this was at the dead lows. It didn't seem to have that much downside possibility, especially with biotech going. So it made sense. And sure enough, profits today, even on a small position, still making thousands in profits today right there. And again, if you were in the intraday stock chat, you heard me talk about it. That's it. And you heard me say that I was in at $4.25. And then if you joined, you profited. So good stuff there, guys. Let me just see what else we have here. If we're looking at McGraw-Hill, let's take a look at McGraw-Hill. This is the last one I want to cover here. And again, just kind of taking a little bit of a analysis tool. You can see a couple buys and sells on an intraday basis today on that chart. But we'll just quickly look at it a little bit closer. The downside supports at the 42 level here. I do believe that this level is a very, very good level on MHP. But the one thing I want to just mention here, folks, the stock has fallen drastically from basically close to 60 bucks down to 44, 43 here. I don't believe this company is going to go much lower. I think the downside risk is around 42. I think it's going to get there at some point, but I'm looking at a bounce coming in very soon. The reason why I say this is one little article I wrote today on the Rant and Rave blog. The company is a large company, right? And the government's basically suing them because they are the parent company, the Standards and Poor's, who does the rating agencies, mortgage-backed securities, all the debacle in 2007 and before that led into the financial crisis and so forth. So really what we're looking at here is a company that is getting sued by the government for, 4 or $5 billion, which they don't have. But at the same time, they employ 25,000 people. There's no way this company's going out of business. So my whole thesis on this is that, yes, it could be weak and possibly go a little bit lower, but I think the reaction is getting a little overdone. All these times when the government sues, they always reach an agreement where it's like half the money or something, and the government's not going to make them pay and go out of business. They'll do a payment plan of some sort. So I actually think that it's probably not a bad play here, right around 42, 40 bucks if it gets there. So again, just a thought there. I mean, I think a lot of people with the hype on Wall Street, they're like, "Oh man, $5 billion they're getting sued for. That could make them go under." Not really. I just don't see it happening. I mean, this is a pretty sizable company. There's no way the government's going to do that and then have 25,000 unemployed people come out. It's just not going to happen. The PR would be bad, disastrous, and so forth. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how it all goes. But I am keeping my eye on MHP for a possible trade. We can look at Moody's as well, which is another player here. Moody's is down about $1 today. Moody's had a big 2-day drop, but it's actually already bounced. So you can see down to the 200. We actually had this level in the intraday stock chat as a long. It was a great bounce. And then it bounced yesterday. Now it's coming down a little bit off those levels. But again, nonetheless, a very intriguing area on MHP at least. I'm not liking Moody's quite as much because it's bounced already. But MHP should be monitored. Okay? All right, so that's what we're seeing there. Let me just see if there's anything else. Let's just jump to the SPY here briefly. And SPY remains down 45 cents. You're just going sideways. You're holding above these moving averages, so this could be telling us there's a pop. As long as you stay above these two moving averages, which are the 200 and the 50, you might see a little bit of a pop up there on the price of the market. So again, watch it. If we're able to close back above this triangular position at the end of today, it actually could insinuate upside. If we close below, then I think you probably see more downside in the market. So watch to see where it closes. I will give you all my analysis in the technical analysis video inside the research center this evening at inthemoneystocks.com. And again, we'll put out some more trade alerts. Let's keep trading. Let's keep profiting. As long as the profits are flowing, I'm happy. So let's keep it up. All right, guys, take care. Have a great evening. I will talk to you soon.